Hi guys, so I'm back again. This time I wanted to talk about applying for internships or applying for full-time graduate positions and what you need to do and the things that you need to know before you actually get online or fill out paper application forms. The first thing I will say is that you really need to know yourself. Why do you think you want to go into this industry? If it's fashion, just the fact that you like clothes is not enough. You have to give demonstrable insight into the industry. What element of fashion do you like? If you're applying to be someone in Selfridges, for example, do you want to be a fashion buyer? Do you want to be a visual merchandiser? What exactly is it do you want to do? And that also applies across the board to law as well, and consulting and banking. I mean, the worst response that you can give in a corporate law application form is that I want to be a lawyer because I want to save the world or something like that. That's no. First of all, that's not what they do. Corporate lawyers do good stuff, but that's not a reason why you'd want to be a corporate lawyer. So that's one of the things that you'd need to research. Explore careers fairs. I think I can't stress this enough. So when you sign up for university, if you can go to your career service and ask them when the next fairs are coming up, because they're great. You get to meet people from the law firms, ask them exactly what it is they do day to day, because some people might look at bankers, for example, and think, oh my God, that's such a glamorous job. Get loads of bonus and you work on exciting deals that are worth billions of pounds. But do you know exactly what division they work in? Do you know that sometimes investment bankers work really long hours? Is that something that you can do? Is that something that interests you beyond just the glamour? Another invaluable resource that you need to check out is the online publications and the written materials. So if you wanted to go into law, for example, you go and look at websites like lawcareers.net. You read their publications. For banking, I remember e-financial careers was really good when I was researching the industry. Whoops, my bad. And then for consulting, there was Target Consulting. So, I mean, there's so many of these resources online. They have forums where you can talk to other people in the same position as you and get their perspective, especially those people who have done internships that, I don't know, you're trying to get, or people who work in the industry and are still quite young and like to talk about what they do, kind of like what I'm doing now. So yeah, they're really good. Also, it's invaluable that you get the perspective of people that you admire or people that you know in whatever industry it is you want to go into. So for example, my first ever proper work experience was in my cousin's law firm, and it's completely different from the type of law that I do now. It was a personal injury. I went into it and I liked the legal element. I saw that, okay, well, this is something I could do, but it also made me realize that I never want to be a personal injury lawyer. So that's great. And I mean, I didn't get paid. I worked for about a month and a half without pay during the summer holidays of my first year, I believe. But that was such a great experience. Sometimes it goes beyond the money as well, and I know that my friends in fashion, for example, have also been through the same thing. So I know someone who worked for, I think it was Marc Jacobs or something. Again, don't quote me on this. And she was there for, I don't know, a month, 2 months. She didn't get paid, but come on, you have Marc Jacobs on your CV. I mean, people are going to do a double take. So that's one element that you need to do. And you ask them for guidance. So you say, okay, look, I really want to get into this industry. I'm starting to research companies that I want to work for. How do I go about it? How do I convince these people that I'm actually really interested? And people who are older love to talk about their jobs, especially if they like it. So, and you never know, they might have connections that can help you get internships or something. So that's a really good guide. I'm looking down because I have a list of things that I didn't want to forget. I think this is going to be a two-part thing because this is kind of an introductory part to applying for jobs and stuff, because you need to have all these things before you actually sit down and say, okay, well, I'm going to do this application form. Otherwise, your application is going to get binned. Also, you need to search for the kind of companies that you're interested in working for. You need to think again properly. So do I want to work for a massive organization, or do I want to work for one that's smaller? They have a really good culture, lots of banter. I mean, one of my best work experiences has been in this hedge fund where there was like, I don't know, how many people? There weren't that many of us. I mean, in contrast to where I work now. And it was just so much fun. Like, people worked really hard. The fund is really, really well known. But it was just so nice to be in such a relaxed environment and, you know, really casual dress code. I turned up to work in jeans. It was more about your work as opposed to formalities. And this is not to say that large organizations don't have fun as well, but these are some of the things that you need to think about. So do you want to work in a big place, or do you want to work in a small place? That's very, very important. You do get the stereotype where people say, oh, I don't want to be a cog in the wheel of a massive organization. Again, if you witness the organizational culture, if you have an internship, if you ask around people who really work there and try and get their real perspective on things, you will find that, you know, some of these places are not the massive mechanical places that you think. For example, my firm is quite big, but I love them. They're so nice. Everyone in the department is really friendly and approachable, and those are the kind of places that you want to work with, because sometimes it's not just about working all the time. You have to get along with people that you're working with. So research organizational culture. And again, don't make the mistake that I did, where when I first started applying for internships and my first job, I was like, okay, so I'm not applying to a company that pays less than X amount. That was a joke. That was a joke, because my motivation was so wrong. It was like, okay, well, I want to work for a firm that pays you six-figure salary. Like, immediately you start out, so okay, I'm going to search for these companies. No, you need to be more focused than that, because it doesn't always work. One thing I didn't realize is that some of those companies that pay you, I don't know, 100,000 or 200,000 pounds when you start, only hire like one person. So good luck fighting for that. And again, it might be a trade-off. You are getting paid, I don't know, 100,000 pounds when you start out, but then you're working for practically 14 hours a day on a consistent basis. Is that really what you want? Probably not. And then also, just finally, because I see that I've rambled on a little bit here, one thing that you also need to take note of is your experiences so far. So what kind of jobs have you done? Have you been a waiter? Have you been, you know, worked in a store? Have you done any experience that correlates to the kind of industry that you want to go into? Or even if it doesn't, have you got any kind of work experience? So write all these things down. So to summarize, before you start your actual application, which will probably be the topic of my next video, you need to have all these things written down. So why do you want to go into this industry? Beyond the top level stuff, go into it, think about it properly. Why do you want to go into this industry? Is there a specific element that you're interested in? Like I mentioned before, if it's fashion, do you want to be a buyer? Do you want to be a stylist? Do you want to be a visual merchandiser? Law as well. Do you want to be a corporate lawyer? Do you want to be a family lawyer? Banking? Do you want to be a research analyst? Do you want to be front office, back office? Is there a particular element that interests you? Consulting, what kind of consulting are you interested in? Write all these things down. Also, your research on the companies, which type of companies are you interested in? This will help you not waste your time, because honestly, application forms take forever to do these days. I mean, some application forms took me a couple of days for me to feel comfortable that I'd written enough and I'd written properly. So you need to take your time with this. And I think something that's really, really good is the primary insight that you get from people who you know who work in the industry, or any of your networking opportunities. So if you've spoken from people in the firm, try and get their business cards so that you can perhaps email them or make reference to them in your application and say, oh, I spoke to XYZ and they told me about XYZ division and the kind of deals that you do there. I was very interested in that, and so on and so forth. And then also, finally, just make a list of your work experiences. Finally, just make sure that you account for your strengths and your weaknesses. Be really honest, because sometimes these people ask you these stuff. So I will see you in my next video. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching the previous ones. Like I said, I'm quite glad that people are taking an interest in it because it's real world stuff. So see you guys soon. Bye.